I
right.
enjoy.
We are live, by the way.
Are we?
Hello, everybody. I
Oh
think we
no.
should be live. Hopefully, let
I
us
need
know
to
how we
mute
sound.
the. Oh, there you go. I muted quick enough.
Fair enough. Um, I shared this earlier in like a couple hours ago, so I might need to reshare to all the different
Oh,
share
it
sites.
doesn't matter. Like,
Okay. Yeah. So basically, Elnick, what's up, my man? Today I thought it'd be fun because I mentioned the thing, and we were talking about this Rush before about
the
some
thing.
different topics. Yeah. So I was thinking it'd be fun to do thoughts on. We could do a couple topics. One, just chat with obviously Kareem.
Whatever
What's
you
up, my
want to
man?
talk about, man. But you know what? I'm gonna cut you off, and this is the last
Hey, man.
time. What's the drink of choice?
Oh, I actually.
Oh,
This will make some
oh, you
people.
bought another stag?
No, this is
Oh,
Scotch, the Dalmore.
with the Dalmore.
Yeah, Highland single malt, 12 year. I was
Wow,
trying
look
to get
at
the
you.
cigar malt, but
The
Scotch
cigar.
is decimated here.
Oh, is it?
Um,
Why?
Supply chain issues, man. Like,
Hmm.
it's literally they have signs like where the Scotch should be, and it's like, sorry, supply issues, waiting on
That's
supply.
that's awful. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I would, okay. So I have two Scotch and I have a Irish whiskey, I guess. So
Ooh, I like Irish.
yeah, it's the shitty Irish whiskey though, like Jameson. No, not really. I have a Redbreast.
Hmm? Red Best is
Just
classic. It's a good one. Oh
I
man,
think you're right
Dalmore's.
because my usual is either the cask 12
Mm-hmm.
or the 15, and they don't have neither. So I think like just the import stuff, like they're getting pretty.
Getting slammed.
Oh,
Well, there's those new
you know what I
laws. Those
also
laws
got?
got in place. Oh, what?
I got the 8, which is funny enough, more expensive than the 16
Huh.
because it's cast strength.
Ah.
Uh
I almost picked up the what's the actor that Lachlan
Offerman.
Offerman. I almost picked that. They had like a whole stack of that.
Oh, why don't
And
you
then
buy one of those? Try
so I was
it.
gonna buy one of those, and I was like, wait a minute, why do they have a whole stack of that?
Oh, it's like I've never tried it. I always wanted to try it, but they're quite expensive for what they
It's
are.
$100. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
$100
for like
here.
10. Oh, actually, yeah, you know what?
It's not
Yeah,
bad.
it's
It's
100
10
bucks
year.
for like 10 years. It's quite expensive.
Yeah, that is expensive. And then you have to. That's not even including all the Washington taxes. So that's going to push it up to like 140 probably around there.
Really, that
$140.
bad?
Oh, dude, it's so bad for boy whiskey
Wow.
here.
How does it feel
It's
like to live under socialism?
oh, dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like especially around booze, man. Like 'cause usually when I'd go, we'd travel all the time. That's when I'd go buy all
Mm-hmm.
my whiskeys and what have you. And dude, we just aren't traveling that, and so it's just rough. But it is what it is. This is tasty pour though. It has a nice clean, smooth. There's maybe a slight hint of that peatiness,
That
but
that
not.
that's got to be the snobbiest glass I've ever seen in my life.
It is the official whiskey tasting glass.
Oh my
Link below.
God.
No, actually, I think I might have the link below. But yeah, this is the official. It's just a cool looking glass, man. It's the official.
That's got to
Well,
be the snobbiest short glass. I just have the regular shitty glass
classic.
that.
So you gotta do the. Is it 12 year? 12 years? It's not a toddler, at least.
Oh my God.
Did you see that YouTube video? That guy doing the tasting whiskey. I think Pete for Fub popped it on the Discord. It's pretty funny. Anyhow, oh, I got these things in. We were talking about this stuff a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so and I still need to do videos on these. I haven't
Still
even
like
opened them.
2 weeks later.
Yeah. So, well, these just came in. This is the new BT30, the TRN, and it's actually kind of a cool product, actually, when it comes down to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that you can put any IEM into
Right,
make it
right.
a true wireless. I actually find that pretty cool. Oh my God, my whole house is shaking right now. I thought it was like an earthquake.
Oh,
Nope, it's just my wife overloaded the washer.
what's the other one? Did you get the
I got the new VX Pro from
Oh,
TRN.
okay. I thought you got one of their new hype I guess they're not
I'm,
sending you the expensive stuff yet.
this is my first one from them, so I'm sure I have to work my way up the.
I think that you should get to try the 7 Hertz timeless.
I'll just get it from Ant when he's done with it.
I think you should. I mean, I think it's great, right? Like the concept of it is it sounds so good, but like
Gotcha.
it's
Execution.
it's yeah, well, not even. It's just no. I'm being like sarcastic. The concept of it. It's a on year. Well, on like as on year as do you remember the old Odyssey?
Oh,
IEMs?
I did see.
Yeah. Except they're closed back, just to make it worse.
I have back here the Odyssey, the iSign LX or whatever. This is how bad. So I think Ant posted out. Thanks CMF. Smack me in the head. Posted these up, and I bought them. Haven't listened to them. I guess you could figure out why I bought them.
They look. Yeah. I can. Yeah. Quite purple.
Have yet to use them, so maybe I could do a video on those. But those, it was like the ones where it was like they dropped all the way down to like $50 or $60, but they're
really?
normally like a couple $100. Yeah, and it was like they do like that sale for them every once in a blue moon where they just like take the price, or whatever. But it's like and so they drop the price by like 75% or some crazy number. Anyways.
I mean, I think it's cool. I think like the on year thing. It's like a lot of people have been doing more open back IEM, which I'm not. I don't understand, but whatever.
Well, so here's another thing that I got in. Actually, Marius, I'm going to talk about that. So I just got in the Amps & Sound Mogwai SE, and this is one of the most recent ones that Justin has done. I literally just built it, and it's it's got all the great upgrades in it. But he also did some things with noise floor, I believe, to help with. So I haven't tested with headphones yet, but I put them on my Korn Scalas, and dude, mind blown. Like, wow. Like,
I feel like you're getting into that phase of like the passive speaker into like amp. It's so much. It's like so much fun.
A rabbit hole, and it's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
There's too many like combination of things. Like like a lot of people would put like tubes amp or whatever, but like I honestly, it's another like set of
just
things that you shouldn't like. Wait till you try cables. Wait till you try cables. Then it'll be worse. Wait till you have like these like. Does the gauge gets bigger when the number gets smaller, right?
Why do you have an anaconda going to your speakers?
I know, right?
Let me tell you. And then I have these bridges I put it on. But anyways, I wanted to kind of touch on, because Chef Steve actually kind of hit on too, the KZ-ZEX, new budget king, great for clarity. So this is something that's kind of interesting. We talked about it before a little bit. There's a couple different topics, but like, so to me, if you're getting into audio in general, and this is something you can appreciate, Rush, because you kind of did the same, like ramp up to wherever you are now.
I did not do the same.
Well, not the same, but anyhow, like the IEMs have their space, headphones have their space, and then speakers have their space, right? And then there's a gamut of things that kind of fall in between in the niche and all that fun stuff, right? What's your thoughts on that? Like, what's like going from like IEMs to headphones to speakers? What are your thoughts on those different tools of delivery to your ears of music?
I mean, like I used to travel, and I don't travel anymore for obvious reasons, because I do like to be safe. And I can't go to Japan, so my favorite country banned me. Just me specifically. just in general, I think like any like foreigners they don't let in. So like I can go to Europe, but like honestly, right now I don't think it's like I'm doing the liberal thing to keep everybody safe. International travel is like not safe. I also don't want to stuck in a tube with 5,000 people for about an hour, like 16 hours. It's
not fun on a good day.
Right? No, it's not fun on a good day. Nor is it like it makes it even less fun with COVID, right? So what was I getting? Oh, you're right. So when I used to travel, I have IEMs, which is most convenient thing, right? I have an IEM and a DAP.
Yeah.
Now I don't travel. I just have speakers. I've sold my IEMs because I don't know when I will use them. I'll probably buy IEMs again when I'm allowed to travel. But there's really no reason to have a few $1,000s of gear sitting in your house and not use. I obviously I'm not a hoarder, right? So like whatever I don't use, I tend to not leave around the house.
I'm mild. According to my wife, I'm a hoarder. So,
I mean, like, I just don't like to see expensive things not used, right? Somebody else can probably use it.
And that's fair, because I have a pair. So I got these VOs in, and now I have my other VOs that I like there's that weird part of me that's like, oh, I love these, I should keep them. But it's like, well, but why? Because that's a lot of money that's sitting there that's not being used just to look nice on a shelf, which, yeah. And I'm in the same, but like as far as like IEMs and those things, like to me, there's also like that good enough factor for a lot of this stuff too. And when I'm out and about, like I'm not focused on the music as much. So like to me, even the AirPods Pro do the job, or like something like, you know what I mean? Like for what I would need on the go. So
I feel like it's a hobby thing, right? You want like, if like, just depends on how much you're into this, right? I think like as most people, like even with like $100, like most people would like be astonished to think, well, I mean, like, how about this? Like, what's the most expensive AirPod? Like $250? I don't know, like $300, right?
The pros, the pros are like $250, I think.
Right.
Now.
So I think like I think like most people like right now, most people wouldn't be surprised if you have $300 earbuds, right? Because the Apple, right?
Apple set the bar.
Right, they kind of set the bar on what's normal. So, and
consumerism on the average consumer, yeah.
So like I think people like kind of like before the Pro came out, right? They never got into this like earbud thing. Like people will be surprised you have like $300 worth in IEMs, right?
Oh, I bring in like a pair of VOs, or like let's say your Audio Technica or something like that, to like a work thing, and people are just like, "Oh, these are amazing. How much are they? Like $100?" And you're like,
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, I like back when I used to work and shit, like I used to have IEMs in the office, and people just pick them up and listen to them. I was like, well, you should really be careful. I was like, yeah, well, no, whatever. It's like, oh, what's this nice? They just kind of pick it up. I'm like, well, you should really be careful.
You should really be careful, because those are not. Yeah.
Someone
did that. Like, someone was holding. I brought my VCs in. Because I just like listening to my VCs, and I was ridiculous, and I was literally commuting with them, and I just had them in my car with the. Anyways, so someone came in and was like, "Oh, those are beautiful. Can I listen to them?" I'm like, "Sure." And they're like, they had them like their Beats or something. I'm just like,
yeah, I don't things I don't let people touch. My IEMs, my knives, and my guns. There you go.
That's actually very, very, very wise words. Have a good one, Ulrich. Yeah, like, so I think that's another funny thing about this hobby too, is like the ramp up. And then there is something to be said. Like I will say, like even I did the video with the Helios where I took my DAP and I took the Helios out to a river walk, right, with the mountain views. And
that was very beautiful. Yeah. Sorry, I just have to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're good. Like, but that's key though. Like, and I do see the use there, right? Like I could see sitting in this very beautiful space, listening to your very beautiful music with your, with high end, like the optimized chain for that, whatever IEM, what have you. And it is an experience worth having, right? So I think there's that side of it as well. But if I'm just going on a train to go to an office or coffee shop, like that's less enticing to me personally, right? Like at that point, I just throw in the AirPods or something, or like a Samsung Buds or whatever.
I mean, it's I mean, like I know that people do sit down in their house and listen to IEMs.
I know a lot of people.
I mean, like I have done it before. I mean, like I never really had headphones. I still don't have headphones, and I never really I kind of skipped that middle step of not portability. But it's fine. I mean, like I mean, if you want to, like, I mean, like I would never, like, you can sit in a hotel room and have your dab, and if you're on a vacation, which I have done a lot, just listen to music, and like you have like a lot of downtime. Depends on like you can't just go out every night when you're traveling, right? It's just like sometimes like you want to have that, and if you're if that's your hobby on the side or whatever, then like I think it's fine. Like like again, like what is $1,000 to you, right? If you're speaking about the Helios, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm not gonna speak to like other people's finances or whatever, but like if $1,000 is worth as much to you as $100, then why not? Right?
Yeah. Then why would you not? Exactly. I agree. And so and that's the other. This is another tough topic, right? Like, so you see it all the time in the different, even just general hobbies and like that kind of thing. But you really see it in the headphone space as well a lot, where it's like the people are like, well, that's that the good enough argument, right? Or like, why would you spend X amount of money? And it's like, because they can. Like, they're like someone, like, I know plenty of people that like they would spend thousands of dollars on something, but it's nothing to them. Like, so there's also that side of it too, right? Like certain, like it's gonna get into a weird economic thing, but like there's also that side of the hobby where you have the economic levels of people and that will skew their opinions of other things. So like you can get like a really good $20 IEM that's fantastic, and then you'll have a group of people that might be in a higher level of like what they're willing to spend on something like that, and they wouldn't even bother looking or listening to that because it wouldn't have a certain price to it, I guess, to some level, right? Like they're
right.
And how much of that skews the hobby, right? Like, not that they're, and I'm trying to say this in a way that isn't like a negative. Like, this isn't a negative conversation.
No,
like,
I don't think so. How about this? Like, let's assume everybody's middle class American.
Okay.
So let's assume you're middle class American, right? And that's safe to assume, right? Well, I mean, I'm not gonna go out and argue about whatever. Let's say you're a middle class American that makes 65 a year, and I think relatively like $1,000 headphone or whatever. That's why they like, and that's the other thing, right? That like in a boutique setting, like I feel like $1,000 headphone, $1,000 IEM sells very well, because like if you're a middle class American who likes audio as a hobby, $1,000 doesn't really mean that much to you, because you get a lot of time if you don't sell them, like with them and whatever. But like the argument that probably everybody would feel is like cars, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, obviously I don't have a Lamborghini, which I you would see me making my Lamborghini account. What I love about
this video just what be you in the,
what I love
in
more
the
about my
Lamborghini.
What I love more about my Lamborghini is my 7 bookshelf that I put in my garage. No, like obviously, right, I don't have a Lamborghini. I think like most people would be like hard pressed to afford even a single Lamborghini, and there are people that has like multiple Lamborghinis. Right. So yeah, like I'm not gonna speculate on people's finances, but if you like assume everybody's middle class, and it's quite an expensive hobby. I know people that have like $300,000 in like speakers, and that's like nothing to them, right?
And that's the other crazy part. That's actually not a lot in the high end.
No, it isn't.
A speaker.
That's like sad. Like I think
that's crazy. Well, you watched the video of that one guy that spent like he built that whole room dedicated to just audio. Like he actually, I don't know, it was a really cool YouTube video about the guy. He built like the ultimate listening space.
I think at one point you should just have an audio, like have like a speaker store. I feel like like a physical store that so I have a, like in my hometown there's an audio, like there's a single audio store. The owner just likes the hobby and he doesn't do it for a living, so he just kind of just has stuff there as a warehouse, and people listen to them, and he doesn't really care about anything else aside from the fact that he just has
access to them.
Right. So like he just writes it off as a business expense. But like, I mean like yeah, the originally we want to talk about like, is how much is too expensive, right?
Yeah, that's what this was leading to, yeah.
Right. So like I think like in a way that I think if you have unlimited money, right? Without a doubt, like speaker will give you the best sound, like by far.
100%.
Like there's no argument to it, right? And I love to hear I like it when people say that. Well, I prefer the sound out of a headphone. Like, well, then you're silly.
Then you haven't heard speakers properly.
Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, like it's just silly. Like the form factor is just like physics. I'm not gonna like. Obviously, I don't understand the physics, but like bigger drive. Here's the dumb rush logic, like bigger driver, better sound.
And there is something that, like Chef Steve says, like there is something to be said about room acoustics for speakers.
Well, but you have unlimited money, right? But you have unlimited.
But if you have unlimited money, yeah, you could
right.
Yeah, you could treat your room. You could place the speakers where you want. You have or a special designated listening room. And the pros of headphones is that like you can get the cups are the room, right? Like you don't have to worry about it. So, which is a huge advantage. And then on top of the other benefits, but yeah, sorry. As far as sound goes, that's if you were to optimize though, I don't think you could beat speakers.
I mean, like nowhere close, right? You can only get 2 drivers on a headphone. You can get like infinite amount of drivers on a speaker, right?
Like I'm saying, like that room, that YouTube video, man, that dude built. It was like it's insane. Like they're 30-foot towers. Like
I'm not a passive guy, so every time I want to like every time I remember there's like one video where like this Genelec guy shows like his like the standard Genelec 7.1.4 setup. So it's like a surround sound 7.1, except he has like 4 other speakers on the ceiling. So it's like true surround sound. That's what they call it. It's like a Genelec standard, like Adobe whatever. And I'm like, wow, wouldn't that be nice? And guess what? That room is exactly it's like a octagon room. Like, so I need to have a house that like house this thing, pretty much. So like let's say,
have a specifically built room,
right? It's like a specific build. I'm like let's like again, right? Infinite money, right? And they built that to showcase their speaker. Obviously, it's like the most optimal setting that you will ever have in your life. Obviously, your result may vary if you just put it in your room. And that's something that we have to deal with, right? And like just with speakers. So that's where like good enough comes to me. Like I'm willing to like treat my room to like put like foam panel in my room, which is like ridiculous. It's hot enough already in the summer. So no more.
Yeah. Oh man, that freaking! I will say, man, that it's a good thing I got it now and not in the summer because that thing is hot. Those big tubes, man.
Oh, just got the blast AC in the living room. That's what you got.
Yeah, true. So back to the relative topic at hand. This is just us kind of having a conversation, but we were mostly discussing kind of the the cost of a thing. Let's not put a name on it. We'll just say cost of a thing is $3,000, right?
Let's say 6,000. Let's say you have a headphone for $6,000.
Say a $6,000 headphone.
I love that number.
It's a
very like round
number, yeah. And so the cost to build that, right? So I'm just gonna. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a marketing person. I'm just trying to put my common sense on it, right? So don't think this isn't gospel or this isn't insider knowledge or anything like that, but just my thoughts on it. Like pure materials wise, you're looking at, let's be on the conservative side,
$20.
And say like a couple $100. maybe.
Okay, so I deal with that a lot before my retirement, right? Like tooling and machining is very expensive. Whether it be good or bad tooling, I'm not going to comment on that, right? And I have had people explain to me how much like CNC drill bit costs, and it surprised me. I'm not an engineer, but I do like look at CNC machine, and I without knowing how much they cost, which is like upwards like $500,000 for like a very good machine. I mean.
So the cost of materials, the cost of machining, the cost of manufacturing, labor,
Right.
R&D.
So without going too much into economics, like the two of the most like expensive things is rent of land and wage of labor, right? As Adam Smith calls it. So like you gotta you gotta have a factory that builds that. You most likely you rent that land. You have to pay a lease, and you have a lot of worker who works on these headphones. While like, most of the things are not like small quantities like hand built, but you have machining, but you still need to pay people to assemble them, right? Yeah. And with these technology things, it's most likely not an unskilled labor, so they do pay them like more than minimum wage, right? Wherever that it might be assembled, right? I don't really care. So you have to pay rent, you have to pay
rent,
right? You have to rent of land, wage of labor. That's how the the economic philosophy puts it. But I mean, like, but the other biggest, like, I'm joking about, the biggest cost, because here's the biggest cost, right? For most people who are unhappy with is margin. I think people are like, again, like, people need to eat, right? Like, I mean, all the people that like dealer have a margin and manufacturer has a margin, and that's about 40%.
Dealer,
So your $6,000 headphones, obviously, without any margin to the dealers and to the manufacturers, are only about 3.4 grand. Suddenly that $6,000 like becomes 3.4 is a lot easier to swallow, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you need to pay the people that assemble these, and you need to pay the rent that they are being assembled, and and obviously your retailer have people to pay for too, right? They have rent and wage of labor. So things are expensive because people need to eat. And whether or not that you value their well-being is obviously not your problem. It's very far removed from me listening to headphones, right? But but like, I mean, like, from a manufacturer perspective, I mean, like, sure, $6,000 is not a lot of money.
No. And so that's something that's interesting as well, right? Like, the cost of a thing, when you take all that into account, there's also the factor of, and this is gonna, so how much people are actually willing to pay for a thing too, right?
Right. That's a consumer point of view.
The consumer point of view, yeah. Like, how much is, like, and you see it all the time. Like, I mean, look at especially if there's like limited supply, right? Hey, Andrew, what's up, man? The limited supply factor comes in, and then you can see people paying for things that are like, why would you ever? I mean, heck, we can even talk about whiskey for
that's just the market, right? That's just the market being silly.
The market being the market, yeah. And it's because people get FOMO or what have you, and then they start dumping money towards things, and people that have the money.
I don't think that's like a headphone thing, though.
No, it's across the board. That's a marketing thing. That's like, consumer thing.
Right, but like, I mean, like, if something comes out and be set at $6,000 at a headphone, and I don't think like people would ever pay more than that. I mean, like, from like a scarcity point of view, I think in a market where like there's the demand is a lot higher than the supply, and I think in the headphone market, people are more than willing to pay at MSRP for a headphone, right? And at the end of the day, then what's $6,000 to you? It means a lot to me, so I'm not going to spend that money. But
and also it matters how much, like you just said too, how much it matters to you as on a personal level, like the value you get out of the thing, right? So I know plenty of people that would spend that might not necessarily, let's look back to cars, right? Somebody would buy a car and spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on upgrading it, modding it, what have you. But if you were to then take that same money and put it towards a different hobby, like, people will all of a sudden get all weird about it, right?
I would just like depends on what you use as like how much utility you get out of a headphone. Let's go to the car. You have one car, right? That's very normal. You need to drive to go to work or somewhere. If you don't live in like one of the big cities, you'll like, in the US, you very most likely need a car.
Yeah.
Some people have two cars.
Yes.
Well, what's the utility of a second car? Well, if your first car broke down, you can use your second car, right? So that's the utility, like N+1, right? So, but like, how much utility of a second car when you can just call an Uber? Like, some people have 5 cars, then then when you have your $1 million car just sitting in the garage to look at, right? So like I wish I have $1 million just to put somewhere to look at, but obviously that's not the case. And going back to headphones, right? So obviously people who spend $6,000 have more than one pair of headphones, I will very likely to say, and they have multiple pairs of expensive headphones. So how much utility are you getting out of your second $6,000 headphones? Well, you're just looking at them while you're listening to your first pairs of $6,000 headphones, right?
And I'm guilty of it. I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, you are, and I'm just talking. I'm actually talking about you.
Yeah, I literally have 2 VOs right now. Like, that's it's ridiculous. And also, Jinsei says some things in the chat.
Oh. Do I want to read
when am I getting the 5,000? I'm not sure if I don't really have a line on a 5,000 right now.
You'll get it when you get it.
I'll get it when I get it, yeah. Can I have one VO? Yeah, sure, Ant. Good deal, just for you.
I thought you guys left that ZMF train a long time ago. It's like a phase.
I love my ZMFs.
He sold all of his ZMF, did he not?
I think Ant did, yeah. Ant, you sold all yours, I believe.
Right? Yeah, and he got something else, which we will not mention.
Yeah, which we won't mention.
No.
Which, by the way, one of the biggest advocates for it just sold in our little random groups of people. Sold
for that headphones that we won't mention.
Yeah. He just sold
okay.
It. He has a bunch of speakers now, though. So.
Oh, okay. So that's how you quit.
Kind of, yeah.
So like I think that's like one thing that I never really had headphones because I can't blast my music pretty loudly without getting a complaint to my neighbor. Like I don't have like big speakers, so like I think like within a reasonable volume nobody would ever complain. So like I never really obviously I don't treat my room, and it's like, you know, all kinds of, depends on who you ask, it's like blasphemy. And I mean like I am still of the opinion that like untreated room, like a pair of okay speaker in an untreated room still sounds better than any headphones out there. Like
and I think it also depends on the synergy too, is similar, but yeah, generally I do agree.
I mean, no, there's no synergy. My amps are built into my speakers.
Oh, fair. Like, well, because like I was gonna go back to like what I have, that amps and sound amp now on the Corn Scalas, and before that I had the name, like I had essentially a top of the line, best of class solid state speaker amp on them, and I was like, these sound really great, you know, and they were like, you know, they're like 75 watts into 8 ohm, I think is what they were. And then I throw this amps and sound amp, which is 5 watts, I think, into 8 ohm. And it blows it out the water.
You need
like half
the
cost.
2 amps. You need one for each speaker.
I mean, yeah, and I've done that too. I've done the dual Vidars before as well.
Well, no, you need 2 tube amps.
Oh yeah, I should do dual mono
because of
amps.
like because of the overhead on the amps. You can't drive them to 100%. It sounds worse. Again, see, this is why that you can't. Like I'm, how much is too much? I'm advocating people not
too.
Well, I mean, I don't. I think it sounds better.
Yeah,
I think it sounds. I don't think it's. I think it sounds better. But like the thing is, like, how much are you willing to spend? Like, your opinion of a sound might be very subjective, but I can look at that number in my bank account going down rapidly, and that is very objective. Right. So like, I mean, like, yes, I can go full boomer, but like. Again, like I still like, that's like, audio is not like top of my hobby. I like to travel, so I would like to go back to traveling, and obviously I can't take my speaker with you whenever I travel. So what is the utility of me having speakers when I am literally out of the house 8 months out of the year?
Then you just get the Helios, and
we're not sponsored by Symphonium.
Sorry, I'm listening to my daughter getting in trouble right now with the wife.
That's not very good.
She's been on a tear today. So she's been a little bit spoiled. So now, and when she gets 5-year-olds, anyone that's had kids or been around kids will know that they go down a certain path during the day, and then that's how it always ends the same. But
the only thing I know about kids is that I shouldn't have kids.
They are amazing and frustrating all at once.
Oh, I'm sure.
So there's actually a good question here. Chef Steve asks, "What's your best value headphone?" And I think that's a good question for both IEMs and headphones and all that fun stuff. But for specifically the headphone, I would say best value headphone that I have would be, as far as like, let's say, like for me personally, like if you get the most out of it, this is going to probably be controversial to some level, but I'd say a used HD800, like original HD800 with like a bottle head crack or like a good tube amp would. Sorry, my daughter's trying to
Yeah, crying. I know. I think you're listening to something else.
And so you can hear, like, that would be my best, like, as far as like in-game budget, like as far as value per dollar and audio bliss happiness, I would say, yeah, like for me, would be that, and or an Aeolus, like a used Aeolus, like an Aeolus would kind of substitute for the HD800 as well. Would probably be a good budget, but I don't consider that budget though, man. That's expensive. So
yeah. Like a used HD800 still runs about $650. Well, which is, I mean, like that's the cheapest I've seen them. They're probably like $800.
$800, anywhere from $600 to $800. Yeah. But as far as like a proper like budget, best in class budget, I mean, I don't really want to recommend it, just because I think it's such a meme now. But like, I would say like one of the HD600s would probably be, would be a good option. But
I'm gonna go with the Marquez Brownlee, the M50X.
I mean, I could even say, well, because you can get this all at the same price. So the problem is the HD6XXs actually, you know what? Yes, Josh T. Not the Cost 95, sure, but the Porta Pros. There you go, best in class budget.
But the problem of on-ear headphones is that
they don't
have bass.
These are warm though. The Porta Pros are warm, so they do a admirable job.
But the bass roll off is awful.
True, but they're admirable. I'd say that the Porta Pros with Yaxi pads are probably, in fact, I have mine. They're sitting up there.
The bass roll off is awful. Like you can't. Yeah, I mean, like if you don't like, if all you listen to are like 80s Chinese boomer music, sure.
Yeah. Well, or even just, even today's, like, even the techno-y stuff. But I'm saying, that's what I'm getting, like, just for like pure, like, just budget good enough, I would say Porta Pros.
I think the cheap, pads. Like I said it so many times, the cheapest headphone I'll ever buy is the HD 660S. And
dude, the 660 is very underrated.
Right. Well, I mean, like people love the 600, and that's okay. I mean, not to dog on a 600. I mean, I just don't. I just don't get what's so like appealing about correct timbre.
No, and I agree. Like
I feel like people throw around that word timbre too much. Like they really don't understand. Like, I mean, like, people say that like Focal have like metallic timbre, and it's I think like at this point it's like pretty much a meme now.
Yeah. Well, you can say the same thing about like any headphone that becomes popular,
But like, sure. Like, I mean, like if you want to stick with Sennheiser, like the 660S is like what, $450, and that's like, assuming you're middle class American, that's quite easy.
But that's AirPods Pro Maxes are more than that.
Oh, is it really?
I think they're like 5 something.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, well, yeah. See, there you go. Justification enough.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Apple product that costs more than it, so must be okay to spend. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, like, I don't mean to, like, I think like Apple is a very great. Oh, your camera just went out.
Oh, I was in a rush to. No, yeah, it's just you for now. Sorry, I forgot to put my dummy battery in. I was running on actual battery power.
Actual battery power. Wow.
Who would have thought?
But like people are, like I don't mean to like dog on Apple, but like people are very okay with spending whatever amount Apple's charging. So like whatever new price that they're charging, it becomes the norm. Like, remember, like I'm gonna date myself here real quick. Remember when the phone doesn't cost $1,000?
Oh yeah. Well, I remember it was like people were going crazy when the Motorola Razr was like $600 or $700 when it came out. People
But
were like, "Oh my
remember
god,
when
it's
they
so
first like broke
expensive."
the barrier, like the first iPhone or whatever, that cost $1,000. Oh,
Yeah,
the operating safety of this battery cannot be guaranteed. Continue to
that's
use.
that's what I was waiting for. This
Your
is
battery
Sony.
might blow up.
Well, it's because they actually have a little thing that recognizes when it's not a Sony battery, and so they
Not a Sony. Oh, not a Sony battery.
yeah. Well, it's a dummy bat. It's a little trick. Yeah. Man, Jinsei really does not like the 80X5000. I haven't heard it, so I can't say anything on it. So
I mean, like, if you don't like it, then you don't like it, right? I don't really like it. Doesn't really. I am remaining of the opinion that is a fixed 80X800, as in it just sounds like smoother and better, less treble peaks, and sounds a lot more. It has a lot more ear gain, which people are not used to, right? But like at the end of the day, the 80X5000 is the most amount of money that I would ever spend on a piece of like on a headphone, right? I have like I had the idea of bringing it with like because like you can still bring headphones with you, right? To travel. Yeah. So like obviously speakers. I have I thought about it. I'm still like, let's see what happens if I can actually travel to another continent. Mm-hmm. So like right now I have two very small Genelec speakers, the 8020.
I know I'm talking about all the time.
Yeah. They're quite small, but it actually fit in my in my bag. Mm-hmm. And I have the Con Cube, which has a XLR to
that's
mini
right.
Right. With that's why I haven't sold it yet. I have that too. It has a mini 5-pin XLR, and I can get one of their splitter to split the mini 5-pin into two 3-pin.
Yeah,
which powers the speaker because the speaker has amp built in on them.
Yeah.
So I thought about doing that, but then like obviously the room acoustic will be awful.
But at that point, you could just get so close. Like that's one thing about room acoustics with near field, though. Like you can remove a lot of the room acoustics with near field.
But it doesn't matter, right? I mean, like I thought about bringing it with me, and like that's obviously a bag full of like that's like extra 80 pounds I don't want to carry.
I was gonna say that's just a whole nother bag just for.
It is, and it's fine, right? Because like no baggage limits and whatever. I don't care, but like just like, so like how expensive should headphones be? Okay, how about this? I never bought like all the speakers I bought, they're used. So all the gears that I have, they're used. I don't buy new because I am cheap and I just don't like paying people money. I don't want other people to eat, right? I don't want them to have like all that overhead, all that margin. I don't want to pay any of those people, right? So
direct from the manufacturer,
right,
lowest cost
I don't want to
possible.
pay the manufacturer. I don't want to pay to like the labor. I just want to buy used, right? So I got my pair of Twin 6 for $2,000 for the pair. So they are 2,200 new per speaker, right? So I got them for less than half the price.
Gotcha.
I got my RME for $500, which is a third of the price. I got my 7060B, the Genelec subwoofer for $500, which is about a fourth of the price.
That's a good deal. Yeah,
I know it is. It's great. I again, for people who wants to look at good deals, please go look at oh, I shouldn't tell people this. I really shouldn't because I still do it, right? But do check like Guitar Center every day, like a lot of the vintage stuff.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the vintage stuff is not because that like they don't know how to price them.
Yeah.
They don't know how to price because it's weird, right? Because it's out of production. So
they just fire sale it.
Right. It's weird because like
I know what you're talking about.
I got the 7060B, which is pretty much the same speaker as their newer gen without the smart room tuning thing, right? So like they usually go for about like $1,200 on eBay if they ever pop up. But like I got this one for $500 because I assume the clerk just looked at it and said, "Oh, it's discontinued." The new one costs the new one costs $3,000, but this one is like 10 years old, so. And it's also beat up, so I guess it's $500, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't even look at the eBay listing and say, "Oh, the last one sold $1,200." So he listed it for $500, and I just bought it right away. But I'm like, "Oh wow, that's pretty crazy to not have." So for people who want to like vintage random stuff that sometimes their clerk mispriced. Go look at Guitar Center every day, I guess.
Jeez. Yeah, no, it's true. Like I've seen deals like that before too, where you go at stores, like
right.
Heck, even was it Magnolia Hi-Fi? They're not as good as the deals anymore, but I used to see it all the time in like not the Guitar Center, but in other places, spaces. God, what was it called? I don't think it's even around anymore. But yeah, where you go in and you just go to like their out of or the either they're not B stock, but they're basically the old stock sale like shelf. Even Best Buy still has it. If you go in like the back of the store, usually there'll be like a whole shelf. There'll be like old stock, and it's like stupid cheap. It's because it costs more to them to store it than it does to off sell it at the stupid prices. So,
but like what I'm getting at is like, my speaker setup in itself costs only about $4,000. Like with the DAC, with the speaker, with the subwoofer, right? And if you were gonna charge me more than that for a headphone, that's no.
And I think that's the problem, not the problem. You just nailed the thing. Like, and so and this is
like when your headphone costs more than a good set of speakers, then no.
Yeah, and that's the case though, man. We're starting to see that more and more. For like, because like a really good speaker setup isn't as bad as you think it. I mean, it is. It's expensive. But when you see people buying like $3,000 headphones, just the headphones, they still need an amp and a DAC. For $3,000, you can have a stupid good speaker system.
For several $100, you can have a good speaker setup.
Well, I remember you posted the JBL thing, right?
The JBL. Have the JBL 350 with the JBL amp that costs $700. You can buy an interface. My Scarlett costs $120. That's new, by the way. So with the Scarlett, with the cable, with the it's
like $800, I think.
Well below $1,000. It's close to $1,000. So if that argument is here, why buy any headphones?
And I have a pair of JBL 305 sitting in my closet right now.
Why do you have a pair of JBL 305 sitting in your closet right now?
Because I wasn't going to do it. I have my Kefs, so my Kefs replaced them. And I bought them like years ago as like for my near field for fun kind of deal. And I don't use them.
I mean, so like if the argument is there, right? Like, why would you buy anything that's above $1,000?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Because you wouldn't want to share your music with other people that live with you.
And so here, yes. So now we go into use case, right? So this is a big deal. Use case factors heavily into a lot of things, right? Like the reason I even went into headphones was use case. 'Cause I had a daughter born, and I can't have speakers playing loudly because they would wake her up and it'd be distracting. I couldn't, you know what I mean? So headphones became a use case, and then I fell in love with headphones because of the intimacy of headphones, right? Like, for me,
I feel like that's most of people's
like use cases of why they would go into it.
Their excuse for headphones being better than speakers
because
it's intimate.
and they are intimate, man. Like that, and that is something.
What you mean is that I hate staging.
You can have really good staging with headphones, man. It just depends on the chain, and the headphone, all that stuff. But I will say, like, yeah, like a proper, like even an improper like speaker setup. Like honestly, just go to if you have a stereo store in your neighborhood or in your area, like just go and have them set up like some really like their recommended speakers, right? Give them a price point and then have them set it up in their listening room and do like a demo, and like it will blow your mind. Like, and it is a different thing for sure. But that being said, I will say though, man, like the intimacy of headphones is a big deal. Like I can really, with speakers, sometimes I can like let my brain wander more often than not, like in the sense of like it becomes the background to some level as well. Sometimes with headphones, it almost forces me to listen, right? Like it makes me listen more, like concentrate more on listening, if that makes sense.
How often? Let's say there's 24 hours out of the day, right? Let's just pretend there's 24 hours in a day. Okay. How often do you actually just listen to music?
Just listen to music on an average day, probably. I don't know how much I am like in that average skew of people listening to music, but probably at least Bare minimum 3 to 4 hours, probably.
How much are you just listening to music and not drinking?
That's a thing.
No, it isn't. That's
no, like no, like so as far as like pure I do enjoy imbibing while listening to music. It's one of those added distortion enjoyment factors that I like. Part is when I like tubes, but not in drinking or imbibing, what have you. Probably, and I don't drink every day, much to I'm sure people's disbelief, but like I would say probably at least 2 to 3 hours a day is like
sober. Listen to just music.
Yeah, like I'm even today, like I was
how?
listening. That was so bad. Why am I doing this right now? But like, it's just good, man. Like I enjoy listening to music a lot, and that's why I'm in the hobby, right? And that's why I pursue the tools to bring that enjoyment to my ears. It's not because I mean I do love the headphones and the speakers, and I like the design of things and the way they look, but at the same time, I'm here for the music more so than the gear. You know what I mean? The gear is just providing that access or that entry into that experiencing the music, right? So I think sometimes people lose sight of that to some level in the pursuit of gear in that last 1% of like optimization. Wow, the chat is going off. I wasn't paying attention.
I don't read chat. So I never listen to music. Mm-hmm. I never just listen to music. I'm always doing something else. It is. I mean, like it's just like noise in the background. So
I'd say at least half my music listening is that way, where it's just in the background.
I would never like. Okay, so how about this? I would never, if I would listen to music just by itself, I would always drink, and I don't drink that much. I would like people to think that I don't drink that much. And I think I'm thinking about having outside speakers so I can smoke and drink and listen to music at the same time.
And with the pool, and you're done. With a bubble machine or a foam machine.
That's why, right? I'm obviously I'm not a psychopath. I don't smoke indoors. So like no, but like I don't listen to music just by itself because it's something.
Is it an association thing? Is it like
no.
Do you associate like so in the sense of like
I'm not.
And that's what I was going with.
I'm not.
Well, that's a funny thing. I see. I have a hard. People would say I'm an audiophile or an audio enthusiast, whatever that. There was that thing going around for a while.
I mean, like I'm not trying to put people hobby, on things, because that I'm super into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a byproduct of me being on a plane for 16 hours and having to do something.
That's fair.
Right.
But I mean, there's plenty of people that it is a thing though. Like they need. Like I personally use music as a means of, like video games or reading a book as a means of escape, or like to transport me to. I listen to the lyrics, and it's to me every song is a story, right? It's storytelling at its finest. I
don't know what songs you're listening to, but you should listen to my music.
Well, I mean, I listen to the lyrics. I try to. That's how I listen to music, man. Is I try to place myself in what the music is trying to convey as a story, right? So I think of them. That's how I think of each track as a little tiny story, and I try to. That's how I try to place myself in that position of that story, right? What it meant to be in that song for that story, kind of thing, and so that's where how I listen to music usually is I think of each track as its own unique little story, and the characters and like what it means in that, like when the music comes together with the lyrics and how that's conveying that story. I also, someone mentioned, and I'm sorry if I missed who it was, but someone asked, oh, Kevin, why not have all three IEMs, headphones, and speakers? And I do. I personally have all three. I think, Rush, technically you have all three.
My wife never complained about my volume of listening, so I don't need headphones.
Well, didn't you have the Phil phones for a while?
I did. He sent me a demo. We're not sponsored by Phil, by the way. So
they're I do want. I have the purple ones. I need to send them. The purple and gold ones. I purposely bought so I could send them to him, and I just never did.
I think you should do a thing with him because he's too shy to do it with me. I think you should ask him, to come. I think Phil is a great guy. I think he's a good friend that I have never met. And he sent me I have he modded my 82,000 which was like pretty much like a broken pair of headphones that I never used, because like before he fixed it, like the headband was broken, the cable was shorting out. It was just really old. Like it was like it's got to be at least 10 years old. Like I bought it from a guy who bought it like when it's like first release or some shit, and it's like gross. So he put new headbands on it. He put new like ear pads on it, and then he put like the removable cable mod on it. So like everything is like, it's pretty much a new headphone after he got done with it, just with an old driver.
I like the ones you sent me. Like I thought those were pretty cool.
The what?
The ones that you sent me, the Phil phones that you sent me, which I think was the 2000s. I think they were the 2000s.
Did I ever send you? Oh yeah.
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 I thought those were cool. I liked them.
I mean, like I never really used them for music, because when I had IEMs, my IEM legitimately sound better than my headphones, because my IEMs are $2,000 and my headphones are like $200.
Yeah.
Right. And now I just use speakers. Like the only reason I bought this stupid microphone is because I don't have to wear speakers. I don't have to wear headphones with speakers. Like I can use my speakers when I talk to people. So like that's the only. I don't have to have silly things. I don't have silly things on my head.
And I will say, like, there is something to be said. Like my ears getting hot. For these kind of things, I should look into doing something like that, just because but then I think my microphone is not good for that. I don't even think you can see it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you just have to get like a corduroy microphone that like doesn't pick up for anything behind you.
Yeah.
But those are usually like XLR, so like you do have to buy an interface with that.
I have a Focusrite right here. Yeah.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
So that's how you pronounce Focusrite. I never know how to pronounce words.
I don't either. I suck at pronunciation.
I don't know the words. But yeah, if you have it, why don't you just buy XLR mic like this one I got. This one I got used. Of course, I never buy anything new. This one I got used for like $80, which is fine. Like
I mean, I'd love to get the SMB. I really like. I mean, just because it's the classic. You know what's mic.
No, you know what you need. You need one of those like one of those Neumann tube microphones. Like you love tubes so much, right? You should get a tube microphone.
Tube mic. Well, I have.
It has a separate.
I like shotguns. I like shotgun mics just because I can keep them out of the screen, and like they can be out of.
But then how will you show people your $10,000 microphone if you don't put it on screen?
Let me show you how I microphone. So I was joking with somebody about this, so it's gonna be weird. I'm just gonna put it like this and then just talk down to it.
I mean, like I guess I can just like. I don't think you can.
Is this awkward? I mean, is this gonna be?
Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Is this weird talking down into my microphone?
Can you get close to your microphone?
Really, really close.
You should get real close.
Real close. But like, I don't know. Like, I think as I'm talking, as I move my mic around, I think it's one of those things where as you progress in this is a hobby too, right? Doing this YouTube thing is a hobby for me. I think it's fun. It's enjoyable. I enjoy doing chats with yourself and other guests. I think that's my favorite part of this YouTube thing.
Okay, I need to come clean with you, Tyler, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so are we at the cutoff point now?
Oh, yeah, roughly, yeah.
Okay. What? Cutoff point.
Okay.
I promise Tyler I'll be super nice in this podcast because hopefully he knows where it's coming, right?
Okay, let's do it. Let's make it
happen. So this is what I want to do. If Tyler wants that, this is a live stream, right? So and YouTube YouTube editor is pretty easy to edit. Mm-hmm. I recently figured out when I have a long pause.
Long pause, yeah.
When I have a long pause.
There's that the pause.
Okay, that's the pause. Okay. So just to make your edit very easy.
Fair enough.
Okay. So what were you asking?
about
So this is the actual after
this is the
Afterdark after.
We have go for it. What were we going to talk
asking
about?
something, I was about to get super angry.
Oh, I forgot, man. Booze.
That's okay. Okay. So, I promised Tyler that I was gonna be super politically correct in this podcast, because like I don't know, like people don't usually watch me.
Yeah, you have to know the AudioDiscourse Podcast.
Yeah, this is not my usual tone of voice, by the way. If people that like doesn't know,
I think it is. I think it is. Well, not on podcasts, but yeah.
This is very off brand for me. Tyler, can I send you 80x5000 for review if you want to swap something? Ooh, somebody is offering you their own 80x5000. Well, I feel like that's so weird, right? Like I almost like it's so. I hate.
That's a strong
having
word.
Other people's stuff.
I do too, man.
It makes me nervous. I have your mess for a while. I'm like, and the thought in the back of my mind is like, how do I explain to Tyler if I put them in my blender? I was like, well, I was making a smoothie.
What happened? It just popped out.
I was making a smoothie. I had it in my ears. It just slipped out and just fell into my blender. Now I don't, Tyler, I can't.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, at least it sounds better that way.
the lies you tell.
How someone he asked the same question. What do I think about Headphone compared to ADX5000? So obviously you have the ADX5000. So I'm preaching to the choir. I think it's the best headphone ever made.
Yeah, he was mentioning that. He was the one that was talking about he thinks they're not very good, and he thinks you're wrong for.
Well, I mean, then you're just wrong, right?
He's gonna return anyways. It's a subjective hobby, man. This is where
I don't think it is. I mean, like measurement in terms of measurement. I'm just kidding. No,
I don't.
You buy whatever you like.
You buy.
I don't care. And I mean, like, I think it's good because I'm a fucking weeaboo. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why people think that I'm a weeaboo, but I just am. But like, I just have to play that. I mean, I like jazz and yeah, and stuff. My favorite artist is BBK and his famous song recording of "The Thrill Is Gone." It talks about the struggle of the African American experience in America.
So
that was out of line.
So I think actually going back to the
5,000. I regret this immensely. It's okay. We have the 3-second pause that you can just cut the video.
So, like, I think so. I've never heard the 85,000. Now, I'd be interested in say in swapping something. I don't really have too many headphones on hand.
How about this? You just send Tyler 80x5000. What is he gonna do? Steal your headphones?
Well, that's the thing. Like we were talking about before. Like I honestly get real. I like to get them back to the owners as fast as I can.
Right. I don't think at this point that Tyler would ever steal your headphones. I probably would. Like, can you send me your okay, I'm gonna get a PO box real quick, and can you send that ADX5000 to a PO box that's like about 20 miles out from my house or from where I live? I would love to. I will love you to send your ADX5000, which you don't like a lot, to my PO box that I'm going to set up right now. If you're gonna send me your ADX5000, right?
I mean, the only thing I have on hand, I have an extra pair of VOs that I'm eventually gonna sell.
That costs way more than whatever that you were usually. I mean, like I don't have an AOList. I mean, like I would steal a pair of ADX. I don't think you'll like it. I think it's a little bit too stabby for you. But then again, you like everything though.
Well, I mean, what I'll try to do is like anything. I'll try to pair it with things that will curb that stabbiness. So I'll pair it with tubes or what have you.
Well, no, like do you still have your May Oh, you don't. You're out. Oh, that was
No.
just a review unit, huh?
I have my TT2. So I have the TT2.
Oh,
I have
boy.
the ECP-T4. I have my Bottlehead Crack. I have my
Yeah,
KN
I'm not big on the
amp.
chord sound. The chord.
Chord is glowy balls, man.
So
Glowy balls.
something about I don't buy anything British ever since the 1977. 90,
I mean, I got that.
American,
I got that. But
if anybody I've ever wondered, I'm not very.
Let's see. He just wants me to flame it in front of you.
I mean, like, I don't think like it's a bad pair of headphones. I think like people.
Well, I think
it's
like,
hard to
dislike.
Right?
So here's my other thing. Like and it's a struggle to some level for me. Part of the reason why, in the sense of like when I review things, most things at the level that I'm reviewing them at,
right,
generally
so
good.
Yeah,
there's it's so I'm literally, it's a preference thing at that point, right?
Tyler, you would be the perfect. Oh God, you're gonna cut this out, right?
Maybe, or maybe not. Why not? Why? Why do I?
You're about
whatever.
to cut this out.
Maybe we'll see. I don't really go back and watch these, so I'm not gonna lie to you.
You're about to cut this out. You would be the perfect Chi-Fi reviewer. But you're not. Like, that's like Tyler. You are the Chi-Fi reviewer of expensive things, of expensive audio equipment.
Dude, I mean, let's be real here, dude. Like the only things I've heard that I have not liked, I don't know, so like polarizing. I haven't really liked that many Dan Clark audio headphones. I'll just be blunt about it. Like,
that's not the way to say their name, but okay. It's Mr. Speakers.
Oh, is it Mr.? No, that was the old name.
That is.
Yeah, it's Dan Clark now. It's his name.
I don't think that's how you pronounce Clark.
Oh, is it like Clark? Like
you
kind
of spell that L with a U. You pronounce it with a U sound. I think it's like German or something like that.
And no R.
No R.
But like I mean, I like the Ether 2s. I thought those were they're always super comfortable. I will say that they're all very, very comfortable. They're very well made. They just didn't fit like my preference. Like they just lacked, like, for me, what I wanted to hear. And so I'm not a big fan of those. Not a big fan of Hi-Fi Mans in general. I'm not a big fan of Planars in general either, to be honest. I like the Rad Zeros. I really like some of the Odyssey stuff, but the Hi-Fi Mans, for whatever reason, man, I can't.
Because they're Chinese.
No, I like Chinese stuff.
I don't like Chinese stuff.
No, man, there's just something about them. Like they sound so unnatural to me for whatever reason. There's that weird separation, and it just doesn't sound natural to me. And it just,
okay, so I was talking to Blake Lacrosse, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not his name. And he made a good point, right? And he was like, so tell me about a headphone driver that produces that has extension in both ends. Okay. In the headphones. And I couldn't. Right. And I was like, well, it's only planar, right? The only way in a planar setup, you would have extension in both ends. And I couldn't. And I was like, wow, he makes a good point.
Yeah.
Not gonna say the man isn't smart, like, very smart man, but he's right. Like, I'm not gonna say he's wrong. He's 100% right. So like in a planar setup, you would have the most true to life reproduction of a music that has extensions in the bass and in the high end, just because physics.
Physics, right? So you'd say that. And like, I've been to lots, like, I grew up listening to live shows. I grew up that's my, and I still listen to like a lot of planars, and I don't get that. Does that make sense?
Well, because they're bad.
Maybe, yeah, I guess.
Like the best planar in the world. We're not, because you're gonna cut this out. Right? The Sasvara has, like, the only reason that I don't like planar is because they're all so bad. Like I don't. The only reason I don't like DCA or Odyssey is that because they're bad. I haven't heard the 5, nor do I care about the LCD 5. Right? Anything like pre 2018 Odyssey I have heard. I don't like them. Anything I have heard up to the Voce from like whatever they released.
I didn't like the Voce.
batch.
Voce was not
we're not gonna talk about Voce. So like they released like the Ether or whatever with the Voce, right? I've heard anything up to that point. I have like I saw so like anything like 2 years ago you can so any headphones released like 2 years ago you can assume I heard because not a peasant. No, because I travel and I have access to stuff because I can travel. I don't care. But the thing is that like the only reason I don't like then DCA and Odyssey is because like Hi-Fi Man sounds better. The only reason I don't like Hi-Fi Man is because no reason. I have no reason. No reason. I think they're. I mean, like,
I see. For me, there's this. I know exactly why I don't like the Hi-Fi-Mans. Right, like I have a very specific things and I'm not. This is purely on the sound side of the house.
Not because they're Chinese.
No, I
You're still gonna cut this out.
I literally do not care about that kind of stuff. But like to me, there's this. Like I was saying, there's a separation. So when I say separation, it's the between tones as well as like the instruments there's this weird like gap that I hear when listening to Hi-Fi-Man, and it's only been in Hi-Fi. The most I've heard it. So as far as the best of them, as far as that, the HEK one
better be.
The HEK one is right there as well, but the or the Heck one or whatever you want. But it's still they closed that gap a bit. But the Arya and the Ananda were the kind of like the showcases of why I don't. Those two headphones are why I don't like Hi-Fi. They showcase the things that people love them. Like Chef Steve's Ananda sounds great, and they do. They sound really good. But once you hear, like for me, like there's a certain parts, and it could just be my anatomy of my ear or whatever, or my whatever. It's a me thing. I know it is. So it's why I don't like them.
I don't think it's a you thing. I think like people just lie to themselves and think that like fucking
no man. Everyone likes things. And then there's a sharpness to them, and I'm not talking treble peak. I'm not talking, but there's a sharpness.
It sounds too clean. It sounds too clean,
and then that separation with that cleanliness. Just really it messes with my ears, and it becomes unenjoyable for me. Like
have you tried a very big tube amp on those?
I have actually. I did. I actually played
with funny part.
and it's funny is it does help. They do help.
It does,
but it's
because
still not my thing.
Just get speaker at this point. Like when you have $6,000, just get speaker at this point.
Well, the reason I say it's also not my thing is I also could then literally without having any effort, I just throw on my ZMFs and I'm in a happy spot. So why would I?
Well, you're just a boomer. That's the thing. That's the difference, right?
I am older, man. I am older.
You like what the audiophile describe as colored sound?
Yeah, I like colored stuff. Yeah, I like tubes. I like whiskey with my headphone listening.
I think like here's the thing that I want to talk about, right? Because you're gonna cut this out.
Probably not, man. It's probably just gonna stay. I'm lazy. I don't want to lie to you.
Okay. Sorry, I super promised y'all was gonna be nice.
You're fine, man. That's what it is.
Like people like neutral, right?
Oh well, I think they
think they like neutral.
They've been told to like neutral,
right? They think they like neutral, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't. Like most people don't.
Mm-hmm. Most people don't.
And that's why, like, Sean Olive had the Harman target. Right, so people like a little bit more bass, a little bit more treble. Most people like a little bit more V-shaped sound, and that's fine. And people been told they like neutral, and that's fine, right? But then, like, when you actually hear neutral, and go like, "Wow, that sounds really bad."
That sounds bad, yeah.
And I'm gonna say that is like I'm not a person who likes neutral, because I'm the person that has plus 12 dB on my subwoofer right now. So it doesn't. It's like again, like I don't treat my room, and I have my subwoofer up on 12 dB, so like plus 12. So
I love people that say I love that. Yeah, like I love people that say I love neutral, and then they EQ everything. You're like,
well, yeah. So like, my main complaint with a lot of the Planar is that they sound very, very clean. And it's fine. Like if you like jazz and whatever, that that's it's tuned for that. Like it's
or classical music, like
right.
proper
So like
classical.
you
I'm talking
have
like
to understand,
orchestra,
like
symphony.
how about this? Like you have to understand, like the hi-fi man stuff. They're not tuned to your preference. When I say you, I mean like the people who watch this show, the English speaking audience. You American, the Western audience is an unfortunate byproduct of hi-fi man. Like,
I mean, to be fair, he even says this. He says he made them specifically for
like the Chinese audience, which they like. I understand that 100%.
Listening to classical music too. Like he said, classical music. Like, so, and by classical I mean literally classical, like Beethoven symphonies.
Right, orchestras. Not like you understand. Like, so let me explain to the cultural difference of to a white man about Chinese music, right? So. So like back in your days, like, when you're like the 80s and the 90s, right? You guys listen to rock and, rock and stuff, like rock and roll. And
I was a lot of hip hop. I was a 90s kid. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but I was...
sorry about that. So if you're a white, since we're going to cut this out, since if you're a white, you will listen to rock and roll. But if you're a people of color, you will listen to blues and jazz and hip hop, right? So those things are very like bass tilted. And
that was very inappropriate comment, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why you gotta cut this out. Come on.
Oh, Jesus.
So those music are like mastered differently, and they're very like bass tilted. Like they're like, because when you rap on the beat, right?
The beat,
so
yeah.
You want to hear
same with jazz and blues,
right?
And rock. I mean, he's saying about rock though. Rock is just a byproduct of that.
Right. So like you are very like the Western style of music is very like bass tilted because you rap on the beat and you sing on the beat. Right,
yeah, of course.
So you are very low end tilted back in the day, but for the Chinese boomers, they're not. It's more vocal focused.
Vocal focused, yeah.
Right. It's more of an instrumental and vocal. It's a lot about a singer, and then with a vocal. So that's why.
And it's amazing if you actually pay attention to it.
Well, no, it isn't. It's fucking awful.
I've heard some of it.
No, really I'm a fucking fuck those boomers. No, disgusting.
I don't want to hear you talking to, man. I like everything. You forget this.
I don't like, again, like back in the day, and that's what the hi-fi man is like. Because think about this, right? $6,000 into Chinese yuan is about 35,000 in Chinese yuan, and not a lot of people can afford that. Not to debate on the living standard in China because that's a lot of money. Like $6,000 is a lot to American.
Yeah, it's even more so
in China. The middle class income is literally
that much.
Well, no, about I want to say 75% of their income. So like once your middle class is only 75% of your income, that means your standard of living is not high.
Very good. No.
Well, not as high. You can't say not very. You can't say that.
Well, no, not very good in the sense of like comparison of like that.
Right. So
you
like,
wouldn't
I'm
be
saying that,
going
like,
out and being frivolous with your money.
Don't
that.
Try to explain to the audience why you don't hate Chinese people. Okay. But like I'm saying that like it's a lot more expensive in Chinese money, right? In Chinese money, Chinese yuan, RMB. So like, and people do buy Susvara like in China because like it's the best headphone and people don't want to admit it, and it's fit for their music because they're fucking boomers, right? But at a point when I talked to all the Chinese boomers that they had Susvara, I'm like, so why don't you have speakers? And they go like, well, I do have speakers. And they go like, so why do you have Susvara? Then they go like, well, I can't really bring my speaker to the show, can I?
But what show?
This is why. Okay. Let me make the distinction for the Americans who has Susvaras, right? You have Susvara because it's the best planar magnetic headphones
on the market, like now,
on the market, right?
The
Chinese people, the majority of the people who buys Susvara in China, that I go to all this like hi-fi show in China with the boomers. The only reason that
is it a status thing?
Yes.
they can't
around bring their speakers to the show with them.
Okay, now the show thing makes sense. Yes. It's a status thing. I get that. Okay.
Like they use it to test like speaker amps because they can't really bring their speakers to the show.
So they throw the Susvara on there. It's also a status symbol of like, oh yeah.
So like, it's on your your Susvara is the best you can get. Their Susvara is the unfortunate byproduct that they can't bring their speakers to their show.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like, it's a good headphone. I don't think it's bad. But like, I mean, like, I don't think like when Dr. Fang Biang releases Susvara, he knows what his target audience is: old Chinese boomers.
I mean, he even says it. He says it in things. I mean, in the past, at least the past ones I've seen. I'm not sure about today's stuff. But
so when he releases it, he knows what his target audience is: old Chinese boomers. And if you're not an old Chinese boomer and you have a Susvara, then maybe you're just old Chinese boomer without knowing
it. In your soul.
Right. I'm not a racist. I have a pair of Susvara. $6,000 gets you a lot of things.
Yeah. So as far as like headphones, someone asked like headphones I do not like in general. And it's tough for me to say it in general, like things I do not like. I personally don't like certain things, of course, but that doesn't mean they're bad. That just means I don't fit my preference.
I hate it when you say that. It honestly really bugs me.
I know, it's amazing. So like I don't really like I'm trying to think of things that would just like things that I honestly were just like, this is bad. It's been very rare. Like something that I would put on my head, or put in my ears, and I'd be like, oof, like that, like I instantly did not like, for instance. That's very rare. That's, I mean,
like, since you're gonna cut this out anyways, why don't you just tell me like how much you don't like things?
Like, what do you mean?
Like,
just in general?
Like in Chinese people in general?
I like Chinese people, man. I'm insane. But as far as like headphones go, dude, I'm trying to think of something I just generally did not. I'd say. And like dislike is not even like, that's too strong of a word. It really is, because like most of these things are sounding, like I was saying, like most of the stuff above Beats is pretty much going to be good. And even Beats, I mean, like, even Beats are for what they are. Like if you like pay attention to what Beats are, it's based off the average consumer's preference, right? And so if you look at Beats, it's just that, right? It's the target curve of the average consumer.
But like,
and so
I mean, like when you
have high bass.
I mean, how about this? Like when you listen to something, do you think about the price?
No, actually, I almost never remember I never even look at the prices. Like I had to ask people how much the Helios was, and I was like, how much? Because I don't pay attention to it. I listen to it for like, what is this? How does it sound? And something I usually afterwards, like towards the end of my time with it, I'll look at it. Depending, sometimes I don't.
And I think that's the correct way of looking at things, right? Because when you have Nürburgring times, you don't look at Nürburgring times per dollar spent, right?
Yeah.
Right, because when you have performance, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be based on how much.
I think people like to use the word price per performance, but I think performance is regardless of price, right?
Yeah.
So when you listen to something, well, in a way that as a reviewer, I don't think you should.
Yeah, but I will say though, if I do know the price, that can factor into my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I do too. Like I think when I listen to something that's $1,000, what?
I mean, that will factor, because then to me it's. But then but the thing is, I like to look at it as a wide gamut, right? I'm not going to just factor for like the low, like the someone that can afford it. I'm going to factor for someone that's like, that's pittance. Why would I, like, whatever.
I'm going to name something that you don't like, and you probably don't remember it. The Final D8000.
Oh yeah, I did not like that one. Was weird, man. Oh man, that was not. Because that was a weird one. Because like you should have seen it. I remember I was messaging. I was messaging people about that one.
Wow,
and I was like, "Oh, this is good."
Awful? Is it just me?
Like, no, I was like, the first few. I was weird because the first, I think it was 2 or 3 tracks. It was like, whoa, these are amazing. These sound fantastic. And then I was literally typing this. I think it was even Android. And all of a sudden, like, another track came on, and people were like, "Really? You like those? You like those?" And I'm like, "Yeah, these are great. What's your guys' problem?" And all of a sudden, another track came on, and I was just like, "Ah!" And I had to rip them out of my ears.
You have not listened to the final approved track list, obviously.
Yeah.
So for people who ask that, the final D8000 is,
it's piercing.
Awful.
Yeah,
awful.
it's
Without a lack of better words, and it also costs like what $3,000.
yeah, it's an expensive one.
It's very expensive.
It's very bright. It's a very bright headphone, and then it's
Yeah.
disjointed. Like to me, like anytime something's like that, anytime a headphone gets disjointed, to me, that's when I start to not like them.
It sounds like if for people who does not know what it sounds like, go buy a pair of KZ. That's what it sounds like. And it that what I meant by that is it does not have treble extension, nor does it have bass extension. So when you pay $3,000 and you have roll off in both ends, yeah, that's your problem right there.
Well, but it had it was a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is not a good headphone, man.
So
like,
another headphone that I really, really, really wanted to love, but I just could not. I could not like it.
The Focal Stalia.
No, I love the Stalia. Stalia is awesome.
They're awful.
See, once again, preference.
No,
and this is controversial because this turned into a giant thing on the different forums and all that stuff. People were just going back and forth about it.
Ooh.
But the Empyrean, that is another headphone.
Ant doesn't like it.
Yeah, dude. Ant and I both. I remember watching. We both had similar experiences with this thing, but like it's just. It's weird, man. Like, and I could see why some people would like it per se. It's super comfortable. One of the most comfortable headphones you can put on your head. Two, it looks really beautiful, really well made. Engineering on it's fantastic. And I really like that they pushed the envelope with the trace design to like kind of get a new thing with planars. But man, like it was one of those things where like every other track was just not listenable for me. And then when it was listenable, it was spot on and great. But then literally the next track would come on, and I'd be like, "Oh god!" Like,
have you tried listening to 80s Polish music on it? so people who
it all makes sense now.
Wait, no, they're Romanian. Actually,
Romanian, yeah, they're Romanian.
Sorry, my bad. That was
no, but that was. But the thing is that with. I've heard plenty of people that love those though, which is fine. Like I don't want to discredit anybody else's experiences
because they listen to 80s Romanian music where people sing about harvesting in Russian.
But what I'm trying to say though is for me they got disjointed, and that's always something I dislike.
I mean, like I don't know why you want to make like a planar, and I don't. Okay, so. No, okay. Isn't the Elite supposed to sound better, like the new one?
Yeah, Elite's supposed to be much better, supposedly.
Okay. So there you go. I mean, like, how about this? They're not a new company. Here's my excuse for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
that was their first planar. That was their first planar, I want to say.
Well, they've been making headphones for
they had the
a
classics.
long time. They had like one other headphone, right? And that's their first
IEMs.
planar.
And then they had a couple IEMs, right?
Well, let's not get into those. They're like a rebranded Chinese IEMs.
Yeah.
So like that's their first planar, right? So obviously, I want to say that Dr. Feng Bian didn't make a very good planar at first, but he kind of did. So
he kind of did,
yeah. So like, I mean, like I'm not gonna dog on them because that's their first planar, but like am I going to spend $3,000 on a pair of Empyrean? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
You know, so like you're for the people that pays that much money for that headphones, you're just paying for the R&D cost of their future product. And if you like them that much to invest in that company without actually having a share, that's on you, right? So like whatever.
You can say that about anybody buying anything. So, but I mean, yeah,
stupid people throwing the money away to richer people. I mean, I just gave Jeff Bezos $25 to buy me a bulk pack of toothpaste. Sure.
I think everyone's gonna have preferences. It's one of those things.
I mean, like I don't think anybody prefers bad.
Yeah, no one prefers bad. I mean, obviously, but then that's one thing though, is that one man's bad is another person's good.
No, you can't spend this like the D8000 is just bad. Like you don't see anybody that it's a flop domestically too, by the way.
Which is
like
crazy.
it
is beautiful. It's a pretty little device.
Tyler, you're beautiful. That thing is not. Like that thing is not. So like the final did not do very well. Like the 8000 line, the A8000 and the D8000, they didn't do very well. At least in China, by the way, which is the market standard for everywhere else in the world. Because if it doesn't sell in China, you don't make any money. In headphone worlds,
mass.
Well, yeah, because you have 1.5 billion people. Yeah. That's just what it is, right? So like, but like, yeah, it's not a good headphone. But like at the same time, like, why would you ever tune something?
What was the other? There's the final. Did the? What's the other headphone they did? It was really.
They don't make any other headphones. They have a A8000, which is an IEM. They have the D8000, which is awful. The A8000 is just as bad. And they also made a collaboration with. I'm not gonna explain on the IEM.
No, sorry. So the D8000. I haven't heard the D8000. I was thinking the IEM. The IEM I heard, not the
A8000, the final A8000.
Yeah, the IEM is what I heard, not the headphones.
Well, no, you heard the headphones.
I've heard them, but it was at a show, and I don't really account for that.
Oh, you heard the IEMs? Well, the IEMs.
No, I had the IEMs in house, and I have only heard the.
Oh, that's right. You don't have the headphones. I thought.
Yeah,
I
never heard
headphones.
I never had the headphones. Sorry, I was confusing the IEMs.
You should be glad.
I think I'm getting them though.
No, you're
soon
not.
From
There's no
from
way.
somebody.
No way.
Yeah. So, community. One of the community guys is sending me. He's sending them out to a couple different people, and then I'm gonna get them. Oh. He's got the black and gold ones, so.
Boy.
I'm excited for that. But yeah,
that's a yikes. Okay.
So far, people have been liking them though, so maybe they did like a revision. Or something.
No. What?
Didn't Resolve like them? I thought Resolve liked them.
Maybe I just don't have the approved haircut for.
You need to be bald, man. You gotta have this. Nice
no, it's awful. The headphone is awful, and the IEMs are awful, just as awful. Like you don't like. First of all, you don't have closed back headphones. Second of all, you don't like. What is it? Isn't it still DD? I think it's still DD, right? It's like I don't know. Like I heard it because they have it on display. Okay, so let me tell you my D8000 story, right? I was in Japan, which is like how all of my audio journey begins. I was in Japan.
So there I was in Japan.
There was in Japan, as always. And I was in earphones, and I feel like that's why you should take that when Japanese people let white people into their country, you should go just because it's such a I think you'll have a fun time there.
I want to go. We were supposed to go, and then COVID hit. It was
exactly. I was supposed to go, and then COVID hit. But then again, I'm always there. But I was in earphones. For those people who don't know what earphones is, literally the biggest audio store in the world, right? Like not in Japan, like in the world, like square footage wise, like variety wise, and nicest clerk wise, just because they're Japanese wise. Anything you want to demo, like all the things that you want, they probably have it, right? Maybe not the
like multiple floors too, right?
There's like 2 floors, and like it's like a chain store in Japan. And the biggest store in Tokyo it's like the biggest store. They recently moved and they had I got more space. But whatever. I was in Japan, and like I was there for the ADX 5000 launch, and like I think that the 8000 was there, or maybe a separate time. My Japan trip kind of blend together already. But like I tried it in Japan, and the clerk was very proud of it, and he was like, "Oh, we just got this in. It's from Final." Because for those of you who don't know, Final is Japanese, and they love their domestic brands because like the Japanese makes the best stuff. And well, I'm not one person to argue about with Japan artisanal craftsmanships. Final is definitely not one of those things that I agree with.
He's a Fostex guy.
I am a Fostex guy. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of Fostex, and I'm a big fan of Audio Technica. I'm not racist. My wife is Japanese. I'm gonna pull the Kinbop, the KB card right here. But like no, like Final is literally like when I put on the headphones, it's literally physical pain that the clerk saw in my face, and he goes like, "Oh my god, he does not like that headphone," and I can't hide it in my face. I'm like, I was like, what this is? And I looked at the price. I was like, oh my god, it's $4,000, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, Final stuff is expensive.
They are. And he's like, and he goes like, do you like this headphone? And I'm like, can I have my ADX 5000?
Can I have my ears back now, please? Thanks.
No, it sounds bad. Like I mean, like it's not. It's like it's. Is closed back headphone bad? Like within the realm
It's a
of
planar too, though, right? Isn't it a planar?
I think it is. I think it is.
Yeah.
Like within the realm of planar is bad. Within the realm of closed back is bad, and within the realm of closed back planar, it's fucking awful. Oh my god. I can't wait till you get it and you just have like physical pain in your face and you just have to like tell people how much you love it on your YouTube video. You go like
so good.
It's
so
like
good.
I can hear this. This is I can see why people enjoy this anal. I'm personally not an anal person. Dick up my ass. No, I don't enjoy that. That's pretty like no, it's
I just don't like crapping on people's opinions, man. Like dude. It's like your opinion.
Okay, so here's a comment I pick up, right? It's amazing to me that some people dismiss classical or jazz. I guess jazz music today is a reference to some folks. Okay. I do enjoy. Okay, so it's not as fun. I make the BBK joke, right, about me liking blues and jazz. I actually do enjoy blues and jazz.
I do too. I love all music, man.
But like,
I even listen to country.
It's not hilarious to talk about, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Okay. So, first of all, it's not fun for me to talk about. Second of all, is that it doesn't really when you have jazz music, there is very little extension in the bottom end.
Depending, but yeah, generally it's not the most low,
right?
Yeah, like low end.
Like you will never get to 20. You will never get to like 20 hertz.
You're not hitting the you're not hitting
20 hertz. So like when you're testing music, right? You would theoretically. Okay, so how about this? Let me ask you a question.
You're hampering yourself instantly if you're
you would ask yourself. So what's your test track? And sort of for obviously this is your channel. So people who goes to your channel, like give me a rundown on your test track.
Okay, I mean I have a mix of everything. So
right, exactly. That's what you would have, right?
Yeah, I have some hip hop in there. I have jazz.
So like like vocals, literally exactly what's the song that you listen to?
Let's see here. Sorry, I have to pull Kobas up 1 second.
And that's why people don't like you, because you use fucking Koba.
Test tracks for headphones, my playlist. I go Go Penguin, So Go Noise. That's my jazz.
Exactly.
I do a Miss Ida B. Let's see. Oh, I do. I have a Peggy Gao. It makes you forget. It's one of my more bass heavy ones. Let's see. I have for vocals. I have a couple. I have Wild Rivers, Thinking About Love. I have for another bass one, Bad Guy by Billie Eilish. For another jazz, our singer vocal thing, Georgia Smith, Rose Rouge. Actually, you might. So I have Clara, This Is Love, and Susan. I think it's Susan Wong, Vincent, and those are some vocal ones that I really like to use as well for like kind of, especially if I'm testing to see if they're too trebly, because they have really strong vocals, but they're with good chain. They sound really fantastic. The Peppery Man, Natalie Merchant. Those are some of the ones. Another one I have, Dead Can Dance, A Song of the Stars. That's kind of for like the staging and imaging and stuff like that. Those are just a couple of them. And then I'll switch over to, from there, those are like my first run through, and then I go to my bigger playlist, which is like a couple hundred tracks that I listen to on random. So, and that's everything from 80s to 90s stuff to today's current era EDM to country. So
right, so like the thing is that like I think like most people should have a wide variety of music that people should listen to, and the fact that people like, I think I like to talk about boomer music and like all that stuff is because that I don't like to, because I didn't grow up in that era, right? I obviously, like, people don't understand. I'm not fucking 50 years old. I'm not a fucking boomer, right? So I don't like to talk about this music because I don't grow up with it, right? That does not mean I don't listen to the music.
I didn't grow up with 70s music, but I still like it.
Right, but it's kind of weird for me to talk about if I listen to The Throw's Gone and 3 O'Clock Blues from fucking BBK, right? That's weird. I'm not gonna be
It's
like
weird. It's an appreciation of an era that you weren't a part of.
No, I am actively not like I'm not
Dude,
gonna talk about
dude.
again.
You know who? No, somebody I love. I love BB King. That's another. I love BB King. I love.
The only reason I love BBK is because my history teacher loves it and he passed it on to me. And again, he's a boomer because he's my history teacher back in high school. So there's that, right?
Dude, I love James Brown. I love some James Brown.
Right, I have my love for BBK because I love his music, right? And I love like East Coast rap music, like
I grew up listening to hip hop.
BIG. So. But like the thing is that like I don't talk about it because it's not culturally appropriate.
That's punk music. I grew up.
Talk about those things.
I mean, same.
I didn't grow up with it, so it's not my like I don't talk about the again like yes, it's important for me to appreciate music, but at the same time, didn't grow up in that era, nor am I the ethnicity to talk about.
See, I think that's I mean, so here's the thing. Like, I think that is a. So I think there's a difference. You can. I don't think you should. This is a weird political PC nightmare right now. My take on it is this. Like, I don't think anyone should be culturally appropriating other people's cultural stuff.
Whoa.
Right? Like, I think that's right.
Okay.
So, like, there's that. Right?
Only Tyler have to preface that. I wouldn't have to.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think there can be appreciation of those things without making it a thing, right? Like, I love hip hop. I like hip hop. I like blues. I like jazz. And I can appreciate that culture. Would I say that I know those? No, I don't have those experiences.
Wait, you mean you don't understand when BIG say you either have to?
No, I wasn't living that life. I wasn't living that experience.
Rock or you have a wicked.
No, man. Like,
you don't live by that. You don't live by that.
Yeah, so like I can't appreciate where he's coming from, but I can appreciate the story that he's telling or she's telling.
Tyler does not understand the idea of that. Tyler does not have a wicked jump shot, nor does he sling crack rock.
Yeah,
that's what Tyler's right.
And Audio Fool's saying it too. Like, so none of us grew up as a Beethoven peer. We weren't in the Beethoven era, right? But we can appreciate what he brought to the table, right? Like, and the music that he's given to the masses. And like, I think that's the part with it we need to focus on. Like, let's not look at it as, I mean, it should be, look at it as that, but appreciate it for that, but also look at it as far as cultural, right? Appreciate it for the cultural relevance, while at the same time, I gotta go, but appreciate it for the cultural relevance, but at the same time, also appreciate it for the artistry of that music, right? And that specific music genre.
I mean, like, not to say I don't appreciate it. That's why I don't talk about it, right? Because I'm not like I didn't grow up with it, so I don't really care. Like, it's just something that I listen to, right? So like, I love weeaboo music because I'm a fucking weeaboo, and that's hilarious, right? And like, it's kind of boring for me to talk about classical music. And if you want to listen to people talk about how good it sounds in classical music, and that's literally every single other like audio reviewer out there that listens to classical music because they pretend like they sorry, my bad. They fool themselves into loving classical music. Not to say that I don't love it, because I do listen to it, but like, no, I'm not gonna tell you this is the last time I tell you I listen to classical music because they're fucking boring.
It has its points. Like, there's times and places where I want to listen to classical. It's not very often, but there is times when I enjoy it.
I mean, if you want to be pretentious and like play it in the audio store, sure. Like,
anyway, I do have to go. The wife just opened the door and angrily told me that I need to wrap it up.
You should go. We got too drunk for this.
I know, right? So anyhow, this is. I think this is fun. I think especially towards this end part. It's a very.
Part are you gonna cut out?
No, I'll leave it in here, man.
No,
it's valuable information in the sense of.
No, that got a little bit too racial there. That's too politically incorrect.
Yeah, to some level. I mean, you could look at it that way, but I think as long as you approach once again, it's about approaching things with respect and appreciation for others that allows for you to then approach that topic, right? It's still a tough topic to approach, but I think as long as you respect and appreciate that.
No, I'm not a boomer. I don't want to listen to boomer music. That's awful. Like, why would you ever like pretend you're like, don't like, how about this? How many people actually like classical music?
I like it. I grew up listening to symphonies.
Like everybody in the audiophile community thinks they like classical music because they're supposed to sound good.
Yeah.
But that's like literally 40 years before their time, right? So I'm not gonna say like in general music preferences. If you look at the Billboard Top 100, they're not classical music, right? So like I would like to say that 80% of the time you don't like classical music. And audiophiles likes to think that, you know, I listen to classical music because I'm better than you and I'm an audiophile.
See, I don't look at it that way. Well, I know there's people that there are people like that. I don't look at it that way. I look at classical music for the values that it's bringing to my ears. Like
they literally brings no value because back in the day there's no extension in any of the ends. No, because there's no low end extension and I like bass and that's why I have a subwoofer. So here's how I'm gonna end the show, right? Here's how I'm gonna end the show.
Okay. Well, we'll let Rush bring it. Let's end the show. Tell you.
How's it gonna end the show? Okay, so I'm a fucking weeaboo, and I spend $4,000 on shitty speakers in an untreated room, only listen to weeaboo music. So don't let my opinion, don't let me tell you what to think is right or wrong. All right, but please don't lie to yourself that you like classical music just because you spent $300 on a HD 600 setup, because that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't believe in the infinite scalability of the HD 6 series. So
wait, what? That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Agreed. No, it's ridiculous. Anyways, on that note, thank you everyone for joining this wonderful. I think my picture choice was good, actually. Now at the end of this, so
I did a test podcast before your podcast with another person. I noticed that I can only stay nice for about an hour until I get so drunk I have to not be nice anymore.
That's be nice. Fair enough.
So to get the Rush nice meter, you just have to cut it out at 1 hour.
Just have the hard cut at
1 hour
60 minutes.
I gave you a 3-second pause. You can just cut the podcast there.
Fair enough. I think we're gonna keep it in. It's fun. It's good. All right, man. It was a great chat with you. I'm gonna go see why. I probably know why the daughter had too much sugar today. So everyone, thanks for joining. Give the daughter
some whiskey.
Yeah,
parenting wise.
But yeah, I think this was fun. We'll have to do some more later on and continue this kind of more of a hot topic kind of conversations.
Hot topic. I think this is the last time you'll see me on Tyler's podcast.
Nah, it's fine. So anyhow, everyone, cheers and thank you for joining, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yay! And you'll never see
Rush,
me here ever again.
Thank you. Nah, we'll get you on again. This is fun. I enjoy these conversations. Cheers,
Good
everybody.
I told you.